Husbandman, yeah, uses the word husbandman. And that Old English word actually captures the essence of what Jesus is saying. My Father, God in heaven, is the husbandman. Through the ages, husbandman has sort of gotten reduced to, now it's translated and it means sort of like a sharecropper, tenant farmer nowadays. But in its original context, it was talking about the individual who oversaw the farm or the land or the vineyard or the cattle or whatever. And the implication is there that individual has an intimate working knowledge of whatever it is he's overseeing. If it's vineyards or if it's fields, he knows where the low spots are. He knows where the rocks are. He knows where the soil is sandy. He knows how to get the best yield out of that field. Hey, that rhymes. He knows how to get the best yield out of that field. If it's the vineyard, he knows how to cultivate and cut back and prune, and we're going to talk about that in a second. He knows how to take care of those vines to get maximum yield, best tasting grapes. If it's an orchard, he knows which trees produce the most fruit. He has an intimate working knowledge of it. We still use the word husbandry, but now that word itself is kind of changed to focus primarily on animals, but it still applies. It still applies. Someone who's a husbandman in the animal realm has an intimate working knowledge of the herd, whatever it is that he or she is overseeing. He knows which females produce the best young and have the easiest time giving birth. He knows which males produce the strongest offspring. He knows which animals limp, which ones tend to have digestive problems. That working knowledge that can only come through being actively and deeply and heavily involved with whatever it is the individual is overseeing. Isn't that a lovely picture? That's what God thinks of us. He's just not saying, okay, let's see how y'all do 80 years from now. He's molding us and shaping us and forming us, and He knows our rough spots. And boy, some of us have a lot of them. Okay. He knows our soft spots. He knows our weaknesses, our strengths. He knows everything about us, and He's using that to help us maximize our yield. Did you catch that? Because that's what the rest of this analogy is going to take us to. It's just not so that we can be Wonder Kid. It's so that we can produce the best fruits. That's our purpose. That's our purpose. It's not just to suck oxygen for 80 or 90 years. It's to produce fruit. And Jesus is steering the disciples towards that. I'm the true vine, and my Father is the Georgos, the husbandman, the gardener, the vineyard, vinter, the one who can intimately shape and mold us. I love that. Now watch, verse 2. In the NIV it translates, He cuts off every branch in me. If Jesus is the vine, and then everything that all of us stem from Jesus, so He's the vine, we're the branches. Every branch in me that bears no fruit. While every branch that does bear fruit, He prunes so that it will be even more fruitful. We've got to take this apart. It's so complicated. I should say that. It's not complicated. It's so powerful. Okay? He cuts off. Yes, that word in the original can mean cut off, as in cut off and discard. But it most often means He lifts up, He tends to it, He molds it. He doesn't just leave it laying there on the ground. He restores it. He does something to it to make it useful. Ario can mean lift up, and the imagery that many of the commentators felt fit most appropriately is not cut off as in like, wham, you're done. No fruit, you're out of here. But you're not producing fruit. How can we fix that? How can we make you fruitful? How can I lift you up to get you more sunlight? Intentional pun there. More sunlight. To make you produce more. If you're underneath a canopy of shade so you don't get the proper sunlight, perhaps I need to trim back some of that canopy and put you up higher where you can get more sunlight. If you're down on the ground where it's damp and moldy, perhaps I need to prop you up so that your feet aren't in the mud. You catch that? He cuts off every branch in me that bears no fruit, while every branch that does bear fruit, he prunes